Sonam Wangchuk has ended his fast. Do you see the protests moving from streets to the Sansad?
I think the government has possibly maneuvered itself towards ending this whole imbroglio by talking to Wangchuk and not talking to them. They will get more and more frustrated. ये सरकार बदलना चाहते हैं, system बदलना नहीं. While I was coming here in the lift, I met a couple of people, spokespersons, आप और कांग्रेस के. Problem अभी ये है कि थोड़ी सी शर्म भी नहीं आती बोलने में कि हम hypocrite हैं. The discussion was obviously this, and they said we are right now not worried about the children of Punjab or Karnataka. We are not worried about whether we come across as being selective about accountability. We are not. हम सरकार को घुटने पे लाना चाहते हैं. अगर तुम कुछ बोलोगे तो हम कहेंगे what about कर.
There is great drama. It makes phenomenal television. It makes even better social media. Where is the system going to change? Because all these Neta, be it Dharmendra Pradhan or the opposition, their kids are abroad. Their lives are not ruined. Lives of these kids, their children is ruined. That's the problem. So all three S is important. Sadak, Sansad and Supreme Court. But ultimately the laws can only be made in the Sansad.
Let's talk about the Radhakrishnan Committee report which came out in 2024, not implemented. Very good solutions given.
Dharmendra Pradhan should resign. I have been saying this. But Modi should have sacked Dharmendra Pradhan. That committee gives 100 recommendations. Some of the recommendations have been followed by Pradhan. He says 80 I have followed, whatever thing is. But the major ones that are instrumental in preventing the catastrophic exam leaks that happen were not followed.
Maybe Dharmendra Pradhan didn't leak the papers, but he could take moral responsibility for something that happened under his watch.
I have to tell you this. We were on another channel and one of the Cockroach ex-representatives was there. I'll take the name. Vijaya. He was there. Vijeta was there. Nothing wrong. He asked him, do you know Radhakrishnan? Which is the Radhakrishnan Committee recommendation they are fighting?
उसको पता ही नहीं Radhakrishnan.
नहीं पता था.
एक महीने से CJP का spokesperson.
What are you fighting for? All we are asking is, can we have the recommendations there? Maybe a little tweak here and there. That is there. You don't need a separate bill. वो already है. उसको लो, उसको implement करो. Tell us it will be implemented in the next 20 days, 25 days, 1 month.
Why do you think this kind of conversation is not coming out of Jantar Mantar? And why is it coming out of you sitting here in this room?
Because इसके लिए मेहनत करनी होगी, पढ़ना होगा, solution. एक है धर्मेंद्र प्रधान को जाना चाहिए. We all agree he should go. What is point B? Point B is reforms. Yes, there is an accountability, no doubt. But the accountability, if it's not Dharmendra Pradhan, it will be somebody else who's incompetent.
On Scrutiny today, I have with me Anand, Ranganathan, and also joining us today is Tehseen, Poonawala. And yes, we are diving into the three words that captured the imagination of this nation, which is the NEET paper leak. Because it seems that even the government has finally decided to listen and act on a very legitimate student demand that our futures are at stake, that we need something to be done so that these kind of leaks are never done again. Both of you are on different sides of the spectrum, and which is why we have both of you on this show today to talk about this issue from a 360-degree angle and to just look at what's happening now and what next. So Anand, I come back to my question now that Sonam Wangchuk has ended his fast. Do you see the protests moving from streets to the Sansad?
It's difficult to say because now all the cards are in the opposition's hands, and the opposition can be the CJP or the leftists or the Congress or anybody else. And that is purely because of the laxity or negligence or the inaction of the government. We've already discussed that. So to answer you very briefly, it's very difficult to say. But let me just start by saying a couple of things, which is that this was an absolutely genuine issue. And it is very sad that the people who are supposed to bring it up as a genuine issue of paper leaks have completely derailed it into a political issue.
Who are these people you're referring to?
This is the opposition. And that is why I say the opposition no longer represent us. It represents a clique. The opposition ये सरकार बदलना चाहते हैं, system बदलना नहीं चाहते. इतने examples और मैं opposition में BJP भी, it is cutting across party lines. There are governments where BJP is not in power, where BJP is the opposition. There are governments where the opposition, Congress is in opposition. And I'll illustrate this. While I was coming here, in the lift, I met a couple of people, spokespersons, आप और कांग्रेस के. प्रॉब्लम अभी ये है कि थोड़ी सी शर्म भी नहीं आती बोलने में कि हम hypocrite हैं. The discussion was obviously this, and they said we are right now not worried about the children of Punjab or Karnataka. We are not worried about whether we come across as being selective about accountability. We are not. हम सरकार को घुटने पे लाना चाहते हैं. तो मैंने उनसे एग्जाम्पल दिया. मैंने कहा इस देश में 3 एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर्स हैं जिनकी मैं रेजिग्नेशन चाहता हूँ. धर्मेंद्र प्रधान की चाहता हूँ क्योंकि उनके अंडर नीट पेपर लीक हुआ. मैं हरजोत सिंह की चाहता हूँ जो पंजाब के हैं, उनके अंडर 3 मेजर पेपर लीक्स हुए, PACB का पेपर लीक, PSTET का, ADO का. और मैं बंगारप्पा जो कर्नाटका के एजुकेशन उनका चाहता हूँ, उनके अंदर SSLC का हुआ. मैं तीनों की चाहता हूँ. तुम कितनों की चाहती हो? वो कह रहे हैं हम सिर्फ धर्मेंद्र प्रधान की चाहते हैं. तो मैंने कहा आर द चिल्ड्रन हु हैव सफर्ड इन देयर टेंस ऑफ थाउजेंड्स इन कर्नाटका एंड पंजाब डोंट मैटर टू यू? वेयर इज योर सिंपैथी? कहते नहीं, नॉट राइट नाउ. पहले धर्मेंद्र प्रधान रिजाइन करें, उसके बाद हम उस पे जाएंगे आगे. व्हाट डज दैट टेल यू? और कहेंगे अगर तुम कुछ बोलोगे तो हम कहेंगे व्हाट अबाउटरी कर रहे हो.
So what aboutery? Is he doing what aboutery? So tell us.
That is why I admire him. Sorry to interrupt, because he does not represent Congress or AAP or BJP. He represents India.
India should come first.
Represent India. Tell us what is the opposition doing wrong?
So, 2 things. It should be about Dharmendra Pradhan because you can't have a more incompetent union education minister than Dharmendra Pradhan. He's the worst this nation's ever had. Since 2021, he's been the education minister. There's repeatedly been paper leaks and he's refused to take accountability. So it starts from there. You had paper leaks in 2024, the same NEET. The NTA chief then of NEET in 2024 today, Principal Secretary Chhattisgarh. And Dharmendra Pradhan ji goes away unscattered. So there has to be accountability of Dharmendra Pradhan ji. That both of us agree.
Fair point.
Totally.
There is no doubt the other education ministers have to go. The system has to change. The system begins from, Aditi, answer a question. Why do kids of Netas and Babus study in private schools and colleges? Why don't they study in government schools and colleges? If they are running the systems across party lines, why are they studying there? Why do they go abroad for education? I'm not against anyone's kids going abroad for education. I am saying if you are running the system, why is it not good enough for you? Why is it different for other people? And you see what's happened is, on both ends, the government has given in, which it should have in the first place understood the problems of the kids before it became so big. The opposition, like he said, wants the government to go rather than the solution. Except for Anand and me, I don't hear anyone in this entire nation of 1.4 billion talking about solutions. What are the solutions? How can we improve NTA? How can we bring in security? How can we use technology that comes in? How can we have the NTA, which the Radhakrishnan Committee, he will refer to it, spoke about it being a statutory bodies, a societies act. Under Dharmendra Pradhan ji. Why? So there are slews of measures you can take to ensure that there is a system that's changed. None want to do it. None will understand it. None will be able to articulate it. There is great drama. It makes phenomenal television. It makes even better social media. Where is the system going to change? Because all these Neta, be it Dharmendra Pradhan or the opposition, their kids are abroad. Their lives are not ruined. Lives of these kids, their children is ruined. That's the problem.
So I'm glad we're talking and we started off with solutions. We will, of course, come to the politics of it. But let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about the Radhakrishnan Committee report, which came out in 2024, not implemented. Very good solutions given there. It's 2026, they're still not implemented. One of the solutions was, of course, computerization. It's a big paper. There is a lot of logistical problem. So it can't be done fully, but at least in a hybrid model, it can be, computerization can be implemented. A lot of ways in which to stop paper leaks. That's the nub of the issue and why the government has not been able to implement it, even though it came out in 2024 after the paper leaks at that time.
Yeah. So that is why, now look, resignation is always a personal moral choice, right? And most politicians are immoral and unethical. But sacking isn't. So yes, Dharmendra Pradhan should resign. I've been saying this. But Modi should have sacked Dharmendra Pradhan. Now why? Because when you institute a committee of experts headed by none other than the former ISRO chief, यार इस सड़क से नहीं उठा लिया किसी को. हमें मतलब, these are the people who the students are proud to follow. He is following in the footsteps of Kalam. So, you know, if we're talking of that level, right? That committee gives 100 recommendations. some of the recommendations have been followed by Pradhan. He says 80 I have followed, whatever the thing is. But the major ones that are instrumental in preventing the catastrophic exam leaks that happen were not followed. अच्छा उसमें अब ये नया एंगल चल पड़ा बीजेपी का और लोगों का कि प्रधान agreed to computerize it, लेकिन हेल्थ मिनिस्ट्री ने कहा नहीं. अरे भाई, who is the education minister यार? Who is health minister Babu telling you to override Radhakrishnan? And if you do, then it is not that health Babu's mistake, it is your mistake.
Yeah.
तो ये नए कनार्ड्स आते रहते हैं कि धर्मेंद्र प्रधान को किसी तरह बचा ले. नहीं, you are given a job. The recommendation committee gave you a recommendation, asked you to computerize it, asked you to normalize the scores, asked you to do it in shifts.
Correct.
Asked you to do biometric evaluation, asked you, वो सारी recommendation आपने choose नहीं करी. आप कह रहे हैं मैं करना चाहता था लेकिन हेल्थ मिनिस्टर में किसी बाबू ने कह दिया मत करो तो मैं मान गया. तो राधाकृष्णन की बात क्यों नहीं मानी आपने? So it doesn't wash. When committee has given you something, you implement it. I mean, I don't understand what the problem is here.
So then you're saying that the resignation should be demanded by the Prime Minister or sack
yeah.
Dharmendra Pradhan. Why do you think the government is hesitating to do that? And that's the million-dollar question here, because the entire nation seems to be asking for Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation right now. Yeah. It's a huge issue. 23 kids have lost their lives, died by suicide because of this paper leak. Somebody needs to be held accountable. Maybe Dharmendra Pradhan didn't leak the papers, but he could take moral responsibility for something that happened under his watch.
Yes, especially, I'll tell you why. Because when if you can say, look, we did not constitute a committee, we weren't given recommendations to change the style of the examination, and it has happened again. You can say, फिर भी आप कह सकते हो, हाँ यार देखो वही सिस्टम हम यूज कर रहे थे, अब प्रॉब्लम हो गई, आगे से नहीं. लेकिन जब कहा कि भाई 15 लाख बच्चे जो हैं जेई देते हैं कंप्यूटर एग्जाम से, आज तक ऐसा नहीं हुआ, 5 लाख और बढ़ा दो और कमिटी रेकमेंड कर रही है करने को, फिर भी आप ना करो,
वहां पर दिक्कत है,
वहां प्रॉब्लम है.
That's the problem.
So, and as to your question, I can't get into Prime Minister's mind and say कि भाई क्यों ऐसा अटक गए हो, ऐसा क्या है कि आप नहीं मान रहे, कहीं और शंट कर दो यार, कोई और. There is a bona fide Minister of Statistics and Program Implementation, believe it or not.
Yeah, there is.
There are 70 cabinet ministers, I don't know how many. They've increased so much for maximum governance. कोई एक दे दो उसको शंट. हम ये नहीं कर रहे सैक करना, अगर नहीं करना चाहते, अगर आपको लगता है कि ईगो में प्रॉब्लम होगी, जो भी है, shunt him out, do something. Now he would have to do it because, see, this is another problem. सबसे पहले जो ये सब चीजें मांग रहे थे वो कॉकरोचेस नहीं थे, and I'm not saying it derisively. All of us are cockroaches. I've said it.
Yeah.
वो right wingers थे. People like Anuradha, Ajit Bharti, Neha Das, they were demanding this from UGC on. Tehseen knows this. उनकी बात सुनी नहीं. अब कॉकरोचेस आ गए. योगेंद्र यादव जो कि कह रहे हैं कि अब पार्लियामेंट में नहीं होगा, इलेक्शन से डिसाइड नहीं करेगी डेमोक्रेसी, स्ट्रीट्स पे आना पड़ेगा. अब उनकी बात सुननी पड़ रही है. 12 बजे आप आके टीवी इंस्टाग्राम पे आ रहे हैं. क्यों आ रहे हैं भाई? Because you worried now.
Exactly.
Right. So, Tehseen, let me ask you the nub of the question. I started with this. You don't see this protest going from streets to Sansad now?
The problem and why it won't go to it will go to Sansad. But will Parliament
From streets to Sansad.
So all three S is important: Sadak, Sansad, and Supreme Court. But ultimately, the laws can only be made in the Sansad. What a failed activist, or what I like to call Duggal Saab, he's very kind to take Salim's name. Will what he said? हाँ, आपने जिनका नाम लिया, वो जो है, वो सड़क पे कानून नहीं बनेगा. सड़क पे कानून की मांग हो सकती है, कानून का विरोध हो सकता है लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से. सुप्रीम कोर्ट कैन एडजुडिकेट द कानून केवल पार्लियामेंट या असेंबली में बन सकता है. लेट्स बी क्लियर ऑन दैट. नन ऑफ देम आर लोअर देन द अदर, बट द पार्लियामेंट इज वेयर द लॉज हैव टू बी मेड. द प्रॉब्लम आउट हियर इज नीदर द गवर्नमेंट नॉर द ऑपोजिशन वांट्स अ डिबेट, एंड आई विल टेल यू व्हाई. The bright solution for this government to stop the paper leaks was not what Anand or I are saying. Let's give it regulatory power. Let's register it as a give it regulatory powers. Let's bring in technology. Let's bring in AI facial recognition, biometrics. Let's put it on a blockchain so papers cannot be leaked. You have a QR code who opens it through an AI zip code. All of that. That wasn't the solution. The solution for Dharmendra Pradhan ji was to ban Telegram, as if the person leaking the paper can't distribute the paper to WhatsApp or Signal. That's how technologically behind these babus are, and they're competing with a Gen Z generation that is technologically involved. That's the first part. So आप मेरे को बताओ, आप मेरे को एक नाम दे दो सरकार में और विपक्ष में, एक नाम जो कोई कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकता है इस डिबेट में. पढ़ाई लिखाई करते कोई नहीं करेगा, कोई पढ़ाई नहीं इस डिबेट पे, किसी को नहीं.
I'll tell you what the tragedy is. See, since yesterday, the Prime Minister has come out and said, look, we are going to a fast-track court. I'm sorry, the horse has already bolted. Because I'll tell you the two problems there. One, are you trying to say that just because you want fast-track courts for the people, for meting out punishment to the people who lead the exam, is that crime greater than the crime of acid attack
Correct.
or dowry deaths? Because they don't have fast-track courts. And number two, in the crimes where you have fast-track courts like rape and POXO cases, the cases have only increased year on year. So it is not a deterrent.
May I add one thing to what he said?
I mean,
the total fast-track courts, and you must check this, special fast-track courts, 2,02,000 plus cases are pending.
In the fast-track
In the
court.
special, no, fast-track is 14 lakh. Special fast-track courts में 2,02,000 pending है. इसको fact check करना. 2,02,000. So what Anand is saying is right. The Prime Minister has great intention. Look, let's accept one thing, even though I'm opposed to the BJP. He's the only leader rooted to the ground. He's the tallest leader of this country. So he got it. Look, these kids are not going to move. I need to reach out. And he did this great selfie video, tried to reach out. But it's too little, too late.
Yeah.
This should, even in our protest, we are doing ethanol, and a phenomenal interview you guys did on ethanol. Thank you. You are mind blowing, and it's amazing.
Can you stop agreeing with me?
इसको
किसने लाए थे यार?
I thought
we can I'll disagree on some things.
Okay, go on.
On the ethanol protest.
The Prime Minister's point. Sorry, I'll come back to that. The Prime Minister's video, for instance, he talked about. You said fast track courts. It's not a deterrent, it's too little, too late.
Yeah.
But he also talked about a bill.
Yes.
What shape and form do you think that bill should be
Bill is
taking?
for fast track courts, I think.
There's a bill is for fast track court. उसमें कुछ और एक दो चीज है भाई जो recommendation already था राधाकृष्णन का वो क्या किसी ने प्रधानमंत्री जी को छोड़कर उनके कार्यालय को छोड़कर क्या किसी ने भी सरकार या विपक्ष को पढ़ा है राधाकृष्णन कमेटी कल and I have to tell you this we were on another channel and one of the Cockroach ex-representatives was there. I'll take the name Vijaya. He was there. Vijeta was there. Nothing wrong. He asked him, do you know Radhakrishnan? Which is the Radhakrishnan Committee recommendation they're fighting?
उसको पता ही नहीं राधाकृष्णन
नहीं पता था.
एक महीने से CJP का spokesperson.
What are you fighting for? All we are asking is, can we have the recommendations there? Maybe a little tweak here and there. That is there. You don't need a separate bill. वो already है. उसको लो उसको implement करो. Tell us it'll be implemented in the next 20 days, 25 days, 1 month. Take accountability there. When I was at Jantar Mantar, everybody used one word, accountability. What the people want is accountability. There are 20 kids who have committed suicide. 24 kids committed suicide. Where is the accountability? It didn't stop at Dharmendra Pradhan ji. It didn't stop anywhere else. And I'm again repeating, the NTA chief there is the principal secretary Chhattisgarh. How do you look at those parents in the eyes? What do you tell them? Where is the accountability? Some tullu pillu you've caught down the line?
Not tullu pullu. Those are people who actually leaked the paper. Leaked the paper.
How did they get the paper?
The nub of the problem is the coaching institute system.
Exactly.
So why don't we?
Going after that?
Yeah, why don't we go after that?
They caught them in Pune. So sorry, they caught them in Pune. So if you read the CBI charge sheet backwards, which I did, the first family caught was a family in Rajasthan. This family is associated to the ruling party, so they claimed or showed off. They got the paper for allegedly 10 lakh rupees. They got it from whoever, it came down to Pune. Pune went to this guy called Joshi, who was a translator.
Yeah.
He was in touch with this lady who was this businesswoman. This businesswoman was associated with coaching classes. Joshi gets it because he's translating the papers, therefore he gets all the papers. Now all of these coaching classes then give it orally, that's how this thing spreads. The point that I'm making is all these coaching classes are taking lakhs of rupees. kids' parents are going under debt to join them, and then these scams are happening. That's where you need to hit the hammer. Not this. If we are paying money for our kids' education, why do they need to go to coaching class?
Why do you think this kind of conversation is not coming out of Jantar Mantar? And why is it coming out of you sitting here in this?
Because इसके लिए मेहनत करनी होगी, पढ़ना होगा, solution एक है धर्मेंद्र प्रधान को जाना चाहिए. We all agree he should go. What is point B? Point B is reforms. Yes, there is an accountability, no doubt. But the accountability, if it's not Dharmendra Pradhan, it will be somebody else who's incompetent. He gave the Karnataka Education Minister's name. He gave the Punjab. They are equally incompetent. Reforms is what we need. We have to move forward. Forward is not having our great Air Force deliver papers. Forward is not having shutting Telegram. It's having systems that don't fail. It shouldn't be individual-centric.
Absolutely. A couple of things I'd like to add, because a lot of things have been said about the coaching thing. Now, as somebody who lives supposedly in a free country and it's a free will, coaching is something natural. If you believe that, yes, I can coach a student to perform better, then I have a right to coach him and earn money through it. You have coaching for sports people, you have coaching for everything. And let's believe it, if we blame coaching for NEET, then there is 100 times more expensive and more coaching for the JEE. We don't see NEET there.
Blaming the coaching. What I meant was that the people who've been, some of the people who've been caught.
Yes.
In the NEET exam paper, they have been affiliated or linked to coaching centers.
And I'll tell you,
and perhaps, and some parents who wanted to get
but that doesn't happen in JEE because it's computerized. When you print 23 lakh question papers, when they have to go to printing press, there are hundreds of channels which increase the probability of the leak happening. That doesn't happen, which is what the Radhakrishnan Committee recommended, which is what was not implemented. So and this is not reform.
Yeah.
Reform would be something else. This is, you please do the correct thing.
Correct.
Just channelize, use the existing channels and just channelize it.
Yes.
And for a country.
But accountability का, sorry to interrupt, एक चीज और मैं कहना चाहूँगा यार, देखो जब तक आप monetarily compensate नहीं करते ना, तब तक आपको चुभता नहीं है. So all the 23 lakh students who have suffered mental and physical trauma, they have to be compensated, not just the families of the bereaved, much higher compensation, but at least 5 to 10,000 rupees per student.
Correct.
That is what I am demanding. I don't care what CJP is demanding. Two things I am demanding: computerized, Dharmendra Pradhan or Bangarappa or Harjot ki resignation, और तीसरा हर student का 5 to 10,000 rupees compensation per student.
I agree with this. I only have one question. This is where I disagree on the coaching part.
Sure.
Look, the 5,000 or 10,000 is because the NEET exam fees are 1,700 odd rupees. Then it comes down for OBC, etc., whatever. The point is that they paid lakhs in that coaching center. So the 5,000-10,000 is not really going to make a difference. So now if you have to do something, yes, you please give them 10,000 or whatever, so it pinches you. But at the same time, please bring in guidelines and regulations for coaching classes. I'm a right winger economically. I don't think businesses should shut. But I do believe there must be regulations that adhere to certain norms. We are repeatedly seeing students.
Which norm do you want for coaching?
For example, there should be a certain number of students in a coaching class. It cannot be overcrowded. You cannot have false promises. All promises must be in public domain that we will make you this, we will make sure you go in this university.
You can't have false promises or यहाँ political parties
I agree with you. But you must have
this is about the students.
Can I ask you?
Coaching centers are largely unregulated compared to, let's say, colleges, institutions.
There must be decent facilities, infrastructure for these kids to study. For example, very few will remember, and Anand and I were livid when those kids in Delhi died in the water, and they put the FIR
fire also.
Lucknow mein fire hua. Who's accountable for this? These are kids who come with dreams in their eyes. Can a nation like ours, which is a great nation, say that there should be some infrastructure, I am not against banning it. Can we have regulations? There has to be a fire escape. They cannot be in the basement where water goes and they choke to death. In Lucknow, those biometrics did not work. That's why they couldn't escape. This should not happen in a country like India. We want to compete with the United States, China and Europe technologically. This can't be happening in our country. So we have to get this in. This should be a debate in parliament. और मैं आपको लिखते दे रहा हूँ. I will apologize if this debate happens. It won't happen in parliament. कोई इस पे बात नहीं करेगा. जाएगी नहीं उधर.
Because what we've seen in parliament so far is just shouting matches. As you're saying, and largely the government is saying that the opposition is not willing to talk. We are willing to have this conversation. The opposition is only indulging in sloganeering. What do you have to say to people like Rahul Gandhi who are doing that.
So I go back to what Sushma ji and Arun Jaitley ji said. The house belongs to the opposition. Running it is the responsibility of the government. The government, if it's sincere, must sit with the opposition. The Prime Minister must call a meeting. First of all, great he spoke yesterday. It was needed that he speaks. Speak to the opposition. वो हमारे लोग हैं. उनके साथ बैठो. Have rules. Let those rules be in public domain that we will speak. When the Prime Minister is speaking, you will not walk out. You will not heckle. When the leader of opposition is speaking, they will not be heckling. They will not be laughing. When Akhilesh ji is speaking, let's have rules set and speak. It is sad that Anand and I sitting on this great platform have to monitor Parliament. This is not how Parliament is functioning. Please be mature. You're playing with the lives of the future of this country. Can we have a mature debate? Set the rules. Put those rules out in public domain. This is how we'll debate this issue. And let's set an example for the world that our Parliament stood up to a tragedy. There was a tragedy. We stood up as a nation. Can't we do that? For once, can't we do that? What is this business of shouting? Everyone is shouting. Everyone is screaming. The BJP is protesting against the Congress protesting. Have you heard that?
I just want to go back to the vandalism and a lot of unsavory elements because, you know, you could say that yes, the students were beaten up by the police, the lathi charge, etc. But there were also other kinds of videos emerging, and both videos are there on my timeline, and therefore one is able to see. And the kind of statements that many of these youngsters are giving out from there, who probably not even given the NEET exam, they don't even know the full form of NEET, frankly. And so that's the kind of two kinds of images that are emerging from there. So I want to talk about the politics of the issue. Absolutely, I agree. This is about the future of our children, and therefore we need to look at it, and the government needs to take cognizance. Belatedly, they seem to have, and they're talking with Sonam Wangchuk and doing what they're doing. But what about the CJP? He says they are up people, and therefore, what is your point?
I don't have any evidence to that, so I would like to take whatever the experts say. My point is slightly different, and my experience with the police and people who try to hijack. The minute the government saw left loonies coming into the protest, Duggal Saab, and prior to that there was a failed actor and there was a comedian who was making fun of Maryada Purushottam, the government should have acted, and actually should have acted much before, but it should have taken a hint then that these loonies have infiltrated. That the loonies infiltrate, I'm not surprised. They did that in my Ethanol as well. There was one guy who came on stage, and I'm not making this up, started saying, Chief Justice को arrest करो, Supreme Court sitting judges को jail में डालो. मैंने वहीं पर माइक बंद किया. आगे क्या क्या बोलो करें. Then I called up the DCP. He immediately sent the additional DCP. मतलब इसको आप ले जाओ. 2 days later, when I came back to Jantar Mantar, he was hanging there. Professional Andolan GB. The point is, the cops don't want to indulge, and the government doesn't want to indulge when you're decent. Government also realizes when there is vandalism. So why are you allowing these people to interfere? When this protest started, what all of us are on board with was students were affected. Had day one, you would have negotiated with those kids, spoken to them, given them a soft hand, rather than being arrogant. None of this would have happened.
What about the leaders of this organization? You said when some Andolan Jini infiltrated your ethanol protest, you pointed it out and you took action.
Yeah, I immediately called up DCP Sharma and
what about the leaders of CJP, who are learning the students, don't they have a moral obligation? Because that is one thing that is also being highlighted by a lot of students, that they were not there.
You need a heart to take. So now we're doing the ethanol. We're doing another march for ethanol. I put it on my tweet. I am accountable. I am responsible. I will not go to a burger joint or run away or meet netas at the time of it. You have to lead from the front. I don't have any reason to believe they were malafide, but yes, I do believe they should have been there. You cannot abandon. See, when people come in numbers, they look up to a leadership. It is your duty and responsibility to take people along. You can't put the accountability on the state. Having said that, the state also failed. I'm repeatedly asking you, why does intelligence in Delhi repeatedly fail? You've had the bomb incident. Prior to that, you've had 2 riots. I'm saying all of it could be foreign funded, it could be terrible. But who's responsible for the intelligence? At some point, there's to even be accountability there. And I'm not blaming the Honorable Home Minister. I'm saying what is the DCP intelligence doing? What is Joint Commissioner Intelligence doing? IB is based in Delhi. You don't have these inputs.
I'm possibly being cynical out here, but the government wanted this exactly.
They did?
To have a divide between the protests. And they are going to go with Wangchuk increasingly. That's what my assessment. I might be totally wrong. Yes, they might meet this thing, but they would project it as that we have agreed to the demands of Wangchuk. Because whatever all said and Wangchuk is not going to instigate the street level thuggery that became a possibility when the CJP took up the whole cudgels. So what government fears right now is Gen Z descending onto the streets and creating the kind of ruckus day and night that they did on 20th July. And all the Andolan GVs and all those things coming there. Wangchuk is a more reasonable face. The government has dealt with him previously. He was in jail for crying out loud for about 2 months, and then he came out and said, I'm a reform man now, I won't do that. Government has dealt with him. Government hasn't dealt with the unpredictability of these youngsters who don't know, right from wrong. Let me put it that way. I'm not patronizing them, but the fact is, yesterday one of the guys, the chief, did not know who Radhakrishnan was. So they just jumped in there. Yeah. They are erratic, they're irrational, they're illogical, they're unpredictable.
Correct.
This guy, Wangchuk, is predictable. So I think it is possibly good for the overall stability that the government has is increasingly moving towards.
पहले कर देते भाई.
इससे वांगचुक से पहले राइट विंगर से मिलना चाहिए था यार.
वो huge. I have to go here. Yeah. You know, these are phenomenal people. Ajit Bharti, Anuradha Tiwari, all of them. They raise this issue of the UGC. Let's understand when did this start.
उनको हाउस अरेस्ट कर दिया था.
अजीत भारती को अपना आदमी उनका आदमी है, उसने क्या नहीं किया भाजपा के लिए. आई एम नॉट सपोर्टिंग, आई डोंट एग्री विद मोस्ट ऑफ व्हाट ही स्टैंड्स फॉर, बट please tell me, as a young parent, and I have a 3-year-old son, I am worried with the kind of regulations coming in. Why should these regulations have come in? And Aditi, I'm asking you this honestly. Tell me something. You went to school, college. Did you care whether your neighbor was a SC, ST, OBC, Muslim, Christian? What mattered was your friends, right?
Yeah.
And I do believe, I think I speak for Anand, that if there is somebody from the ST community and they are discriminated against, we must act against them, period.
Of course.
But that law exists. That law exists, and that you are there. Can we not further divide? Can we have people together? Can we have our kids? Dharmendra Pradhan ji stir the whole.
This is the biggest example of people coming together, because it is the children, the future, which have come together, and they are raising a very legitimate demand. There is also the example of FIMA, for instance, which is the largest medical body association, largely affected. What did they do? They did not take to the streets or indulge in vandalism. They just went to the Supreme Court and filed an PIL. So, what's the most democratic way to bring about change?
I think
what do you see? I understand what you said about.
It looks to me that the situation is not going to go out of hand. If the government agrees to and Sonam Wangchuk and the government are on the same page, because then that completely nullifies whatever protests or political or otherwise aspirations the CJP might have. So things will come to an end. If Sonam Wangchuk also becomes unpredictable and says, oh well, tomorrow, I want these fresh set of demands, then this will go on. And so my assessment is things are pretty fluid right now. But I think a good beginning has been made this day, at least, when Sonam Wangchuk and the government are on the same page.
Why and this has not just happened with this protest. Yeah. It happened with the farm laws. It happened with the CAA. Yeah. Is the government late to react to these kind of people-centric or people-fueled protests?
So, two things out here. This is very different from all the other earlier protests. To give the example of farm protests, there the government buckled, and it was completely wrong to have buckled, because it was an absolutely legitimate reform that Modi brought in, that was there in the manifestos of all the opposition parties. Out here the government was at loggerheads at something that it had done wrong. So here it needed to buckle. There it should not have buckled, and it buckled. So it's not. It's just suck them and see, as the Brits say. Each and every protest is different. Same with the CAA. The CAA protests were totally wrong, because they were misrepresentation of what the law stood for, and Shaheen Bagh was illegal, happened for 6 months. So there the government was right. In the farm laws the government was right, and it buckled. Out here the government was wrong.
And it buckled.
And it buckled.
And it buckled. Yeah. So, at least the buckling part of it remains the same.
I slightly disagree. Okay. There's a Dinkar poetry. जब नाश मनुष्य पर छाता है, पहले विवेक मर जाता है. सरकार का विवेक मर चुका है. घमंड है. बहुत ज़्यादा घमंड है. See, I can again give my example, personal example. Ethanol is a very legitimate. You guys have discussed it in demand. The only names I've been called is they've said that I'm a failed. unemployed social activist Hardeep Puri ji. Nitin Gadkari ji has said that I am funded by the 22 lakh crore lobby, oil lobby, which I think comes under Hardeep Puri, so you should call him up. Why are you being aggressive? I am not unreasonable. I am being reasonable. I am talking all the logical things. I am ready to talk to you. वहाँ आपको बात नहीं करनी है. वहाँ आपको घमंड दिखाना है. जब तक गाड़ी वाली सड़क पे नहीं आएगी, तब तक आप अहंकार दिखाओगे. You are paying, and I'm telling you, there's so much money being paid to tweet, to troll, and all of that comes because you know how social media, organic and inorganic tweets are. Everything. Why are you doing that? Talk. We are your people. Talk to us. Don't talk down upon us.
जिस दिन गवर्नमेंट को लगता है कि आपका वोट प्रेशियस है, उस दिन वो बात करेंगे आपसे.
But I want to ask you one thing. You've been leading the ethanol protest from the front. Are you going to take a leaf out of the student protest?
So now what we're doing is we're doing Gadi March, Gandhi March. Gandhi did the Dandi March for salt. We will do the Gadi March for petrol. Our demands are very clear. E10 till the cars phase out. E20 को 20% डिस्काउंट, E0 के आप थोड़े दाम कम कीजिए जो वर्तमान में इतने महंगे हैं. Put all documents in public domain. If ethanol 20 blending policy is good for us, Aditi can read it, Anand can read it, put it in public domain.
One parting question, are you going to go on a hunger strike?
No, so not right now,
Achha.
which I could, but not right now. Right now we're doing a march from India Gate on 31st July, a drive from India Gate to Hardeep Puri ji, Nitin Gadkari ji's residence office and stop at Parliament Street. We'll follow all the laws.
Not the parliament.
Not because it's in session. We will do nothing to break the laws. We will listen to Delhi police, but don't treat us like criminals. We are ready to cooperate with you, but we will be making a noise now on 31st July. We are getting all the bikers out and the car people out. People are affected. Ethanol is affecting people. You have to accept. And it is conflict of interest that Nitin ji is in it and he's threatening journalists for defamation. He cannot be a bully and threaten people. It doesn't work like that.
I just want to get your view in on this.
Yeah.
He's my guru. No, on the march, on the ethanol.
On ethanol,
Yeah.
yes.
No, I think it's great that, of course,
So you're going to join the march with your car? What's going to happen?
No, ये नहीं कर सकता.
No, but I mean, I support any protest, even the CJP protest, even the march. If you have permission for it, if you follow the laws, of course it must happen. And I was of the same opinion for CAA, for any other situation. You have a right to protest. You don't have a right to prevent. And that is when the problem stems in. So protest by all means. And I welcome what he's doing.
Again, legitimate issues. Have a dialogue. I think that dialogue with the government is what you are hoping
Without
for.
being condescending.
Which was what the students were hoping for. And when that didn't happen, then things obviously spiraled out of control. Nobody condones what happened really during that march, the vandalism, because as I said, and the kind of statements coming out of Jantar Mantar is not doing adding any great value to that cause or doing anything great for that cause. Thank you so much for watching, people.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for both of you.
Always
for
a pleasure,
doing this
Aditi.
together.
Take care.
All right. Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.